Hi, I'm Rachel Burns, and today we are debating peer pressure. Here are the debaters.
Hi, I'm Nadia.
Hi, I'm Teresa.
This is your topic. Is peer pressure okay?
So, peer pressure can be a good thing depending on the situation. For example, in a way, peer pressure is a good morale booster, and it's always beneficial if you know where your limits are. So if your friends try to pressure you into doing well, for example, and like they get good grades and they're always like, oh, you're slacking this time, well then your peers are telling you to do better, and that's never a bad thing. That being said, peer pressure can also lead to like doing bad things. If you know your limits and you tell them no, you can try to actually end up putting pressure on them in order to do better. Like if you keep saying no and say that you want to live a good life, if someone's asking you drugs, and like you're saying, no, I don't want to take drugs, so I don't want to die, or like it's injured because you know what happens, you can tell that to your friends, you can try to pressure them into not doing drugs. So peer pressure can be a good thing because it helps you do better.
Pressure is always never okay. The fact of peer pressure is when your peers start trying to get you to do things that you don't want to do. Now, say for example, that's taken out in society. We have people who tell us, who make us not think for ourselves by pressuring us to do things that we don't want to do, causing us to not being able to think for ourselves. We have the media telling us how we should look, how we should act, how we should think, and that's taking away from society being able to think for themselves. Another form of peer pressure that is horrible and also harmful is when drugs and alcohol are put into the mix, and also other bad decisions. If you neglect being able to think for yourself and let others think for you, it could be a good outcome for them, but because they're the ones thinking for you, but as yourself as a person, it could come as a horrible outcome for yourself and for your well-being.
So what would you do if your friends were pressuring you into giving them your homework?
Pressuring people into giving you their homework is a complete horrible thing. Mostly because, as I said before, if you take other people's ideas, you're not thinking for yourself. Which, when you don't think for yourself, you're not leading yourself to what you want to do. It's basically taking someone else's ideas and thoughts and not even making them into your own, but making them similar and exact as your own. So, taking homework is plagiarizing, but taking homework would also be helping your grade, and yet it'll affect your grade to the point where when you get to college or when you get somewhere where you won't be able to copy anyone's homework anymore, you won't know what you're learning, you won't know how to do the problems that you're given to do, and you'll have to fend for yourself, and you won't know how to, because you've been taking things off of people for so long that basically you're left with nothing, and you won't know how to think for yourself. So, it's bad.
That may be true. However, there's a sense that you could use like reverse psychology or something like that in order to pressure them to do well. What you're saying is that like if you steal homework, you're demoralizing yourself and them, and like they're just sucking because they're just going to take everyone else's work and they'll become like a vampire in a sense of way, and they're going to keep doing that, and it's not going to help them in the future. But what you're not looking at is what could come out of that situation as well. If I were being asked for someone to give my homework, there's multiple things that you would want to do in that situation. One, you would be like, okay, well, why are you asking for this? If the person's like, oh, you're just smart, oh, I just totally need your homework, well then yeah, you have a right to say no, which is possible. No one can pressure you to make you uncomfortable. It's a bad thing, I understand that. However, but let's say the person had like a bad situation back at home, like, oh, well, my mother's sick, or my dog just died, or something that will prevent them from being able to do their homework. That you can add some more sympathy. So looking back at the slacker person, you can now play a game with them. It's like a little reverse psychology type thing, where you can say, all right, so for the first time, I'll give you my homework. But then there's a catch, because you know a lot of times if someone asks you for homework once, they'll most definitely come back to them. Well, now you can use that same theory of like peer pressuring on them. You know that they're setting themselves up to fail. If they continue stealing their entire life, then yeah, it's not really helping them. And then they're going to be bullied and pressure people into doing and like stealing for the rest of their life. But it's not going to benefit them. So what you do is tell them that. You be blunt. You have to be blunt in these situations. You say, all right, I know you might like to do homework and like to pressure me to give me your homework, but I think in this case now that you should try to work harder and pressure them to do better, because what's more fruitful in the end is like success. And like if you can push them into being successful people and use peer pressure since you're your friend or your peer, it's actually a good thing because that's what God wants you to do. Like He doesn't want you to steal people's answers, and He doesn't want people to like brainwash other people in order to like become their followers and always give them their stuff. So I think peer pressuring in the sense that you help people, encourage people to do good is great. So peer pressure is good. Peer pressuring can be good because it can pressure people to do well, and it can like really make better people out of it.
Peer pressure can be bad because it can cause people to not think for themselves by pressuring other people into doing things that they want them to do.
Now class, what do you think? Is peer pressuring ever good?